wonderful work is evidenced by the work in the show. Wonderful work from these artists. And I also want to introduce Tobias Ostrander, the new Chief Curator. And he will be discussing the work of the artists.
Hi everyone, thank you for this invitation. It's wonderful. I'm very new to Miami. I've been here about 6 weeks, and I'm of course extremely interested in engaging with the art community here, and I can't think of a better place to begin than Art Center. And I got a little peek at people's studios over the weekend, and I'm very anxious to begin a dialogue about the exhibition, and I hope it's the beginning of other conversations between myself and the institution, and also of course between MAM and Art Center, which is an ongoing relationship, and we're very excited about the new building at MAM. That's opening in 2013, but we still have wonderful exhibitions going on in the building. Right now we just opened a beautiful exhibition of Faith Ringgold, and I hope you can all come see it, or some of you may have been at the opening this weekend, but it's a really impressive exhibition, and I hope we can all see it together there. But Rosa, do you want to start?
Sure.
Rosa and I work together, so she's my guinea pig.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rosa, and I've been a resident artist at the center for about 2 years. And what feeds my interest in art and art making is the human condition. I'm a very restless individual and artist, and I use the visual arts as a vehicle or as a tool to research ideas, to study myself as an individual and the society and the world that I live in. And this particular work of art is titled Mapping. It's part of a series. I work in series, whether it begins with an idea, a concept, or materials I like to work through. I guess you would say as a problem, trying to problem solve. And so this is the culmination of that series. It's about 18 works of art. I've been working with recyclable materials for a long time, and it's a twofold kind of thing. It's a necessity because my resources are scarce, and at the same time, I have issues with consumption and overconsumption, and living in a society where things are sold and too many things, too many toothpaste brands and too many. So I work within the realm of recycling for that issue for 2 reasons. So this is titled Mapping. And it came about, like I said, I work through problems. I use the arts as problem solving. And it's titled Shapes in Conversation, part of a broader series. And this one is titled Mapping because it came about as a result of thinking about what it means to live in Miami, whether it's as an artist or as an individual. And Miami is a very fragmented city. It's multi-ethnic, very rich in that sense. But I think, for me, it kind of reflects a little bit not equal and living next to each other, but not really knowing each other. We inhabit the same spaces, but we don't coexist in the same spaces. It's made out of paper that I collect, drawings that are mine, some are appropriated. I'm very fortunate to work at the museum. It pays my bills and I learn a lot. And I get to use the materials like drawings that kids throw away. So, and tape and foam is so they're like drawings, three-dimensional drawings. And of all the series, I think that this work is the most successful one. So.
Can you talk about how much of it is planned and how much of it is found in terms of the broken shapes?
Well, the shape, it's the culmination of the series because by this time I had worked through many problems of visual resolutions. So I actually cut and so it's partly an organic process and an intuitive one, but it's also, by this time I thought I cut the pieces myself and arranged them in a particular way. So it's kind of like a universal explosion where we coexist, but we're not the same.
What I think is interesting about this, what surprises me is like how they float off the wall. They at first, to me, they could be wood or stone or another material, but then by hanging them, you're sort of stressing there's very light material. They have this kind of visual weight to them, but then you're sort of playing with our expectations, or for me, playing with our expectations by hanging them. So they could still be heavy, but they look quite light in hanging. I don't know if that's intentional on your part, sort of playing with the the form or the way.
I think sometimes as artists we run into accidents happen and you discover things. That's one of the most exciting aspects of the process of the work. So you kind of discover and fall into some things, and I think that I kind of fell into.
And about the presentation, do you always present these series on the wall, or have you moved onto the floor or onto other parts of it?
There's, of the 18 pieces, there are 3 installations, and one of them is on the floor. So I'm afraid that I'm attached. I'm a painter, though. I haven't painted for a very long time. That was my training. So I'm not a sculptor. So for me, it's kind of new territory. These 3-dimensional drawings, in a way, that's how I see them. So, but I'm attached to the wall, which I hope to break from in an organic manner.
There's sort of in terms of color, there's a certain unity to this. I mean, how did that come about? Do you make a lot of these and then recombine them, or do you choose a palette as you?
I had chosen the palette, and blue. It's the most intense colors are the black and the blue, and it's colored tape. I've been working with colored tape for 5-6 years. And the blue, living in South Florida and being from the Caribbean, original blue is an important color. It's the sky and the ocean. And I'm originally from Cuba, and like some people say that Cubans, we sweat and live in blue. It's like blue is the color of the ocean. It's the color of the sky, the islands surround it, even though I don't live on an island, but Miami I think is very much. So I chose that color, and black is a very intense color, very powerful, and I think everything looks well. So I think they're 2 powerful colors, and I chose them.
Was this the installation in your studio, and you reinstalled it here, or did you reconfigure it for this?
No, I reinstalled it here. I use my studio as a place where I can try things out, ideas, visually see how they work. And so I tried it first in my studio, and then I just redid it. And a lot of my work is like that. It's flexible, and it can more or less, I don't need to measure or have specific, as long as the field is there, they can be reinstalled in slightly different ways. It doesn't have to be very exact.
Maybe we could open up just if anybody has any other questions for Rosa before we move on. Are there any others? Do you have anything else you want to say? Tell me just a little bit more about this idea of waste or recycling or this. I mean, I've seen that in your work. You talked about this obsession with kind of using already existing materials. Can you talk about that?
I guess since 2007, I've been working with materials that are accessible to me. I was in a studio previously in a different part of town where there's a lot of garbage, and just the idea that that every day something new is introduced in the market to replace something that already exists that works well. For me, it's a little disturbing. So in a way, I use recycling. I use materials that people discard, and I try to involve my friends. Like my friends collect the foam from me, and it's a process. I get to talk to them about the work of art, the idea. They participate. So it's really this idea of consumption. It's just so I have several pieces, for example, now that I'm working on that deal with the same issues but in a different manner. I'm a social individual, and I think that art can address not only individual questions as a person, a human being, but broader social issues. So I try to do that in a very visual and subtle way, address issues that are broader questions in society.
And I'm going to ask this of everybody, but sort of working here, what do you find that this space gives you that maybe other studios haven't?
Well, the one thing is that what I really like is the exchange and being able to talk to other artists from different parts of the world, different experiences, who have more experience than I do. And there's most of the artists are very open to the dialogue, to discussing ideas or how does this look, what do you think about that? That is very important to me. And the second part of it, too, the public gets to come in. So somebody who doesn't know anything from anything, can tell you the truth about what they think. And so I like that too. I see what people come up to and attracted to, what they don't like. So I like the interaction with the public. I think that's new and it's different, and I appreciate that. Because after all, art is about communication. So, and I don't want to gear my works of art towards people who know about art. It's a general discussion with everybody.
Maybe we'll just kind of